Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and race fans. This is Rob from the Area 51 Racing Podcast. Tonight will be episode 74. Tonight I'll be giving you my race report for Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series races, along with Rob's Racing Hot Takes. This week's episode, number 74, is brought to you by Action RV. Their saying is less drama, more action RV. And as a matter of fact, I just happened to get my crew shirt and my hat that has that saying on it from Mark Podine, the owner of Action RV, and his awesome staff and crew based in New Mexico. If you have any camping part needs or are in the area and need your RV serviced or trailer serviced or repaired, get a hold of Mark and his team. They do an amazing job. This hat and crew shirt was from the race in Las Vegas, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. I believe it was Las Vegas that they went to earlier this year as a team. He shut down his business and all his crew members, which are his employees, go to the race and have a great time. So again, this episode is brought to you by Action RV, a partner of Jeremy Clements Racing and also this podcast. Today is Memorial Day, and I would like to take a moment to thank all the brave men and women in our military that paid the ultimate sacrifice for all of us to keep our country safe and our freedoms intact. My thoughts and prayers go out to all those brave warriors, families, friends, and fellow soldiers. Know that your loved ones' sacrifice will never be forgotten. I'd like to take a quick moment of silence in their memory. Thank you. I would also like to say a big thank you to all the brave men and women who are currently serving in the military across the globe. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Godspeed and be safe. Like I said, the races this week actually were really good for all three series. The Truck Series race was on Friday. Practice was in the morning. Qualifying was after practice, and then the race was qualifying and practice was in the afternoon, and the race was at night. The driver of the number 17 Tricon Garage Toyota, Giovanni Ruggiero, who's a rookie in the series, got his first career Truck Series pole. He's a good young driver who's raced in the ARCA series and also in the Cars Tour series and other super late model series across the southeastern part of the United States and other areas. It's good to see that he had a hot rod and was able to get his first career pole. Like I said, the race was decent. The trucks were able to pass. Again, this was a tire strategy and a fuel strategy race. The race was dominated by Corey Heim, the driver of the number 11 Tricon Garage Toyota. Corey Heim his truck was on rails once again. It's basically, like I said last week, feast or famine for him. Either he's winning the race or he's up front and something happens. Either he gets wrecked or something mechanical happens to his vehicle and it ruins his good run that he has. But this week he ended up sweeping both stages, like I said, and he ended up winning the race. And as the saying goes, when Corey Heim wins, it's Heim time. So he points to his wrist where a watch would be. That's his signature move when he wins in victory lane. This was his fourth win, I believe, of the season in the Truck Series. Like I said, Corey Heim won the race. P2 was NASCAR Cup Series regular Ross Chastain, who drove the number 44 Niece Motorsports Chevy. And then P3 was Caden Honeycutt in the number 45 Niece Motorsports Chevy. Caden Honeycutt, it was good to see. He's been running really well this year. This is his first, I believe, his first full-time year in the Truck Series. He also runs in the Cars Tour. He won the Snowball Derby this past year. He's a very good young racer, very good young driver. The big thing that came out of this race that I thought was interesting is NASCAR Cup Series regular Kyle Busch, driver number 7 Spire Chevy truck, was not happy post-race with the performance and speed his truck had. He said that Spire has some work to do to get better. That struck a chord with me. Kyle Busch is one of the best racers currently in racing, other than obviously Kyle Larson, but Kyle Busch in general over the course of his career, he has dominated in the Truck Series. And for him to say that, there had to be some major problem with his truck. But he ended up still finishing, I believe, like in the top 10, like P7 or P5 or something like that. So it's crazy that he was mad about the performance and speed of the truck, but still was able to finish in the top 10. So that's my report for the Truck Series. NASCAR Xfinity Series race report, and also the Jeremy Clements race results. Saturday morning was practice and qualifying. The winner of the pole was Taylor Gray, the number 54 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. I believe it was Taylor's first career pole. In practice, Jeremy Clements was P30. They did 3 runs, totaling 23 laps. Jeremy said the car was decent, but just was tight in the turn. Excuse me, in the turns. And they kept working, making adjustments on the car to get it better. Qualifying, he qualified P22. He had a really good lap going. Unfortunately, he got really tight in turns 3 and 4, so it ruined his good lap. The race was later in the day on Saturday. On the pace lap of the race, Jeremy came on the radio and said that his cool suit was not working as he had no power to it. He said he was glad that it was cool out this year, as usually when this race happens, it is really, really warm. Then on lap 19, there was a caution, and Jeremy's spotter, RC, and Jeremy's crew chief, Case Kallenbach, tried to radio Jeremy and got no response or answer from Jeremy on the radio. RC asked Jeremy to shake the car if he could hear him, which Jeremy was able to do, so they knew he could hear him, so they could communicate with him, but they just couldn't hear anything back from Jeremy for some reason. So without the communication over the radio, they used the shake the car, drive low on the track, or to signify if the car was loose, tight, or whatever. Jeremy, in the first stage, battled a tight car that eventually was loose off throughout the whole stage. At the pit stop at the end of stage 1, Jeremy handed a crew member the push-to-talk button for his radio that was broken, which was causing him not to be able to communicate with his team. Case radioed Jeremy and told him after the pit stop was done that they were going to get him a new push-to-talk button as soon as possible from Racing Electronics, and that once they get it, he would let them know. The car, Jeremy continued to communicate the same way as in the first stage, without the communications of his radio with his crew chief and his spotter. The car continued to be tight, center, and loose off. 2 times during the stage 2, Jeremy hit the wall, not hard to cause a lot of damage, but it was hard enough to cause what Case thought the rear of the car to move a little bit to cause it to become more tight. And like I said, Jeremy was still not able to communicate with Case or his spotter RC due to not having the push-to-talk button for his radio. During the pit stop at the end of stage 2, Jeremy was given a new push-to-talk button by a crew member for him to install on his radio in the car. After the pit stop under the caution pace laps before the stage 3 started, Jeremy was able to radio Case and RC his spotter, and at that time told him that he had a really bad vibration with that last set of tires. Case checked the tire, or Case was told that the tires showed that the right rear tire was loose. Also during that stage 3, Case made a great call at one point and had Jeremy stay out for track position, even though Jeremy was battling a tight car, which resulted in a majority of the cars in front of Jeremy pitting, which gave Jeremy really good track position from back in the mid-20s up to the top 10. It was a big gamble, but they were lucky for once. They got a caution flag came out, which trapped the cars that had just pitted before a lap down, and that allowed Jeremy to pit under caution while the other cars either had to take the wave around or whoever was the first car lap down took the lucky dog. The pit crew had a really good stop. Jeremy continued to battle a car that was really tight. With 28 laps to go in the race, there was a caution for a car that spun. At that time, Jeremy was P13. Jeremy came on the radio. He was really frustrated and upset. He said that he had a really bad vibration and that he had to come in and pit. Jeremy came in and pitted, and after he went back out on the track, Case Kalmbach, his crew chief, advised that the vibration was from a loose wheel. With 6 laps to go, there was a big wreck by Jeremy, and Jeremy was able to drive through it without getting wrecked. As a result of this wreck, it resulted in a green-white checker finish for this race, which has happened a number of times this year in the Xfinity Series. On the restart, Cup regular William Byron in the number 17 Hendrick Motorsports Chevy drove around the outside of the number 7 Junior Motorsports Chevy driven by Justin Allgaier. I still don't know how Byron didn't hit the wall or Allgaier, as it didn't look like there was that much room for him to go by and pass without hitting either the wall or Allgaier, but Byron successfully did it. He basically sent it, and it worked, and it allowed him to get the lead and keep the lead. After Byron took the white flag, there was a big wreck bringing out the caution. At that time, the field was froze, and Byron ended up winning the race at his home track. It was the first time he had won at his home track of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jeremy Clements finished P16, which was a decent finish for Jeremy and his team. In the race, Byron Allgaier and the number 88 Junior Motorsports Chevy, driven by rookie Connor Zilisch, were the strongest cars on the track for the majority of the race. Byron finished P1, Zilisch P2, and then P3 was Nick Sanchez in the number 48 Big Machine Racing Chevy. Chevrolet has won 11 of the 13 races so far this season in the Xfinity Series. That blew my mind when I heard the broadcasters for the race say that. That is just crazy to think that the dominance by Chevy of winning almost all the races except for two. Allgaier in the post-race interview was very frustrated and dejected, as he said he gave that one away there. But he still ended up getting a good finish. He finished P4. Huge congratulations to one of my favorite drivers, Ryan Ellis, driver of the number 71 DGM Racing Chevy. He got his first career top 10 with a P8 finish. I believe that's career best and highest finish that he's finished in the Xfinity Series. Ryan is a great guy. I have met him before at the track. I've talked to him. He like I said, he's a great human being, great guy, super friendly with fans. And it's awesome to see Ryan and his team get rewarded for their hard work and dedication that they're putting in on and off the track. After the race, Jeremy Clements is currently 20th in points. The NASCAR Cup Series was on Sunday. I did not watch the races. I do not have Amazon Prime subscription. I did see replays on the NASCAR app. I watched some videos and stuff and saw the results. Ross Chastain, driver of the number 1 Trackhouse Chevy, got his first win of the season after doing a crazy slide job on William Byron off turn 2 with 5 laps left in the race. Basically, what Chastain did by sending it, doing the slide job, is what Byron did to Allgaier by sending it in the Xfinity race to get the win. Ross did his usual post-race celebration where he climbs on the top of his race car with a watermelon and then smashes it on the track next to his car, then gets down off the roof of the car, picks up a broken piece of the watermelon, and then starts eating it. Chastain was excited to win the Coca-Cola 600, not only because it locked him into the playoffs, but it also is considered a crown jewel race and was a good thing to add to his racing resume. I also saw a video on the NASCAR app of William Byron, driver of the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports Chevy, and Denny Hamlin, the driver of the number 11 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota, racing each other hard but respectful during stage 3 of the race, where they were bouncing back and forth between leading the race between each other. It was good to see during the race. Like I said, it was the racing. I wish I would have been able to watch it. The racing was good. I mean, it looked like they were able to pass, and they were able to race side by side. So, and the other thing is, this is the longest race of the year. It was a 600-mile race. There's actually 4 stages instead of 3. So it's an endurance race. Unfortunately, Carson Hocevar in the number 77 car for Spire Motorsports, he had a really stout car. He ran up towards the front of the pack, and towards, I think it was in stage 3, he was up in the top 5, and his engine ended up blowing, and he ended up not finishing the race as a result. And he didn't get rewarded for the hard work that he put in as a result. Chastain won the race. Like I said, Byron was P2. P3 was Chase Briscoe and the number 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. It was good to see that number 19 back at the top of the leaderboard. I'm a huge Martin Truex Jr. fan, and even though it's hard to not see Martin behind the seat of that car, it's still good to see that number 19 car up at the front of the pack. And Chase Briscoe's a good guy, good race car driver, so happy for him. P4 was AJ Allmendinger in the number 16 Kaulig Racing Chevy. This was a great race result for AJ and the Kaulig Racing. They've been struggling something fierce this year. A couple of races ago, AJ got on the radio and just went off on ECR, the engine provider manufacturer for Kaulig Racing, because they had an engine failure. And yeah, so it was good to see AJ and Kaulig get a good finish. And then P5 was Brad Keselowski, the number 6 RFK Ford. Brad also is struggling this year, and it's good to see him also get a good finish and run towards the front of the pack. That is my race recaps for Charlotte Motor Speedway for this week. So now I'm going to get into Rob's racing hot takes for this past week in NASCAR. Usually I do my race recap and my hot takes on Thursdays or Fridays. However, I needed to do, because of scheduling, I needed to do the podcast today. So I don't have as much stuff as I usually do for my hot takes, because a lot of stuff pops up during the week after a lot of the drivers go on podcasts and the news media releases different stories from interviews about the previous week's race, that type of stuff. So I'm going to go with some current stuff. First one basically being that the Charlotte race was the first of 5 races that Amazon Prime is the primary TV provider for the NASCAR Cup Series. So the only way you can watch the races, the Charlotte race, this next race at National Super Speedway, Michigan International Speedway, the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez Mexico City Road Course, and Pocono Raceway will be, you need to go on Amazon Prime and subscribe. So I saw on social media, a lot of people are wondering how to go about getting an Amazon Prime account and how to go about being able to watch the NASCAR races on Amazon Prime. So I looked, basically what I did is I just Googled Amazon Prime, and I went on there and saw that towards the bottom, as you scroll down, there was an area where it says plans. It said monthly plan is $14.99 a month. Annual plan is $139 a month. And then below that, there was a bar that said start your 30-day trial free. If you click on that free trial, you'll be able to watch the remaining Cup Series races for free. You just got to make sure you click on the Join Prime in the NASCAR section of Prime Video to set up an account. Once you set up the account, then you'll be able to have your 30-day free trial, and you'll be able to watch the 4 remaining Cup races for free. If you don't want to continue your trial or your subscription, then make sure before the 30 days are up to cancel it. And I'm seriously considering doing it because I've heard a lot of positive things, and I read a lot of positive things on social media about the Amazon Prime coverage of the race. People are saying they didn't do commercials in the middle of the race or do split screens of the race and commercials at the same time. They did commercials during the stage breaks. They had good video coverage of the whole field, not just the leaders. The pre-race and post-race shows were good, and the commentators in the booth and trackside were really good as well. They showed stuff behind the scenes that the other TV providers for NASCAR races don't show usually. So, you know, this is also a streaming service, so you can go back and watch the races if you missed it, or you know, the practice, whatever. You can go back and stream it by going back to the Amazon Prime NASCAR area and click on the whatever race, practice, whatever it is that you want to watch, and you can stream it on your phone, your computer, your TV, you know, any electronic device that allows streaming video. So it sounds like, even though it's not on like regular television where everybody would have access to it, even with an antenna, without cable or a dish, it sounds like it was a very good thing, and it's a positive direction for the sport in the means of TV coverage wise. You know, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the booth. He's one of the commentators. I think he does a great job. He has a lot of knowledge. Obviously, he has a huge fan base. So, you know, I suggest people give it a try. Like I said, if you want to know how to do it, I know on the NASCAR app, they have an area where it explains step by step how to do it. And I wish I would have just looked on there instead of, but I Googled it. I mean, if you don't know something, that's what you need to do. Just Google something. It's amazing what you can find on by Googling something or by typing something in on YouTube. I've been able to fix a lot of things because I found how to do it on YouTube. So my second hot take for this week, Jimmie Johnson, 7-time Cup Series champion, NASCAR Hall of Fame member, and one of the top 75 greatest drivers in NASCAR history, jumped back in a car for the Coca-Cola 600 race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He drove the number 84 Carvana-sponsored Chevy for Legacy Motor Club. This was Johnson's 700th career NASCAR Cup Series start. Coincidentally, Charlotte Motor Speedway was the first Cup Series start for Johnson back on October 7th of 2001. So almost 24 years later, he had his 700th career start at the same track where he had his first start at. Johnson, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, when he became a part of Legacy Motor Club, he jumped back into a car and raced at select races. Texas, where he was always good, Charlotte, the Daytona 500. Those are, I know, 3 of the races that I know he's done. I don't know now if he's going to plan on doing any more races since he's got a 700 start or not. But either way, if you think about it, 700 career starts is crazy for anybody. I mean, I thought Jeremy Clements getting 500 career starts in the NASCAR Xfinity Series was crazy. Having 200 more in the Cup Series to make 700 is even more crazy. But that has to do with a lot of hard work, dedication to your craft, being good at what you do, having a good team that you race for, and good sponsors, and good support from your family and friends to make it all happen. So props to Jimmie Johnson. Congratulations. I mean, he is one of the greatest of all time in NASCAR. The only thing is, since he's jumped back in the car, he really hasn't had a lot of success. A lot of times he's wrecked out of races. And in fact, this race, he wrecked out of the race on lap 112 and ended up finishing P40. However, earlier this year at the Daytona 500, he started P40 and finished P3, I believe it was. So, he still has the skill and the driving ability. It's just, I wonder now if once he's got his 700 career start, which is one hell of a milestone, I honestly don't know if any other drivers have reached that. The only one I could think of is maybe Richard Petty, but I don't know. I honestly don't know if there were that many races back then as there are now per year. I mean, obviously Richard Petty raced for a long period of time, but I don't know if I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I should have looked into it before I did the podcast. I apologize, but that'd be interesting to see. And in my opinion right now, Jimmie Johnson has done everything he can in NASCAR. He's got this amazing career, and he's part of Legacy Motor Club. Now that he's set the 700 career starts in the Cup Series milestone, maybe it's time for Jimmie to step aside from racing. I know that's probably going to be hard to do, being as competitive as he is. And maybe it's time for him to become a coach and mentor for all of the drivers, which I'm sure he's doing now anyways, but he won't be distracted with having to work on sim time and everything else with preparation for a race, where he can just focus on coaching and mentoring and doing the stuff he does at Legacy Motor Club to make that organization better and their drivers better. And then the other thing is, with that 84 car, then that opens up a seat to possibly put a young up and coming driver in it to give them a chance in the Cup Series. Or like Trackhouse Racing has done with the 91 car before, making it a international driver car for like F1 racer, or like Shane Van Gisbergen and this supercar racer, who now is obviously full time in the Cup, Cup Series, and they're the Xfinity Series and Cup Series he races in. And then like Kimi Räikkönen, and I'm trying to think out who else was the other one. There's some other ones, but like F1 IndyCar drivers, whatever, where they could do something like that to put them in the car to get them some experience. But either way, in my opinion, I think Jimmie, you've done everything you can. You're one of the greatest of all time. Just step away, relax, and coach and mentor one of the next great stars in the sport of NASCAR. And then my last and final hot take for this week is Kyle Larson's attempt to do the double, the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, running all 1,100 miles between the two races. Unfortunately, it did not go as Kyle Larson planned. Larson had a challenging week of practice with his IndyCar team. He ended up crashing the car twice during practice. And then in the race, he ended up crashing on lap 92, which ended his day. As soon as Larson was done, he ended up flying to Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600 race. He started towards the front of the field and had a fast car and was able to leave several laps and run in the top 5 for quite a while until he spun on lap 42 into the infield grass. He got some damage, but his team worked on the car to fix it, where he was still able to continue on in the race and not go a lap down. And then again on lap 245, Larson was involved in a wreck, which ended his day with a P37 finish. Larson was interviewed outside the infield care center and said that doing the double between Indy and Charlotte races is just too much and not really worth it. He said that he said it is too tough logistically to make it work. He said that because of the rain delayed Indy race, that even if he hadn't crashed out of the race, he would have had to probably end the race early to make it back in time to Charlotte to get in his race car to start the race in the Cup Series race. Larson did say that he would love to race in the Indy 500 again someday, but made it evident that it wasn't going to be anytime soon when he's still racing in the Cup Series. Larson's one of the elite drivers in the world of motorsports, and it just shows that anybody can, with that much talent, that's able to succeed in any type of sport vehicle they get in, could have a bad day like Larson and get wrecks in 2 different series and not finish the race. Last year, he did decent in the Indy 500. However, because of the rain delay, he got back late to the race and ended up not being able to race in his Cup car. NASCAR, as a result, changed the rule this year, so Larson had no choice. He had to get back. Otherwise, he would have not been able to, I believe, be eligible for the playoffs if he missed the race or didn't start the race, I should say. So my question is, is it worth another driver trying to do the double? I know it's been done before. Tony Stewart, prime example, Kurt Busch. Recently I read on social media that Kyle Busch had it set up where he was going to do it. And when he was racing for Joe Gibbs Racing, and Joe Gibbs told him he could not race in the Indy 500. That would have been cool to see. But I don't know. Maybe it will happen now with Kyle being at RCR. I mean, Kyle just signed another year contract through 2026 with RCR. So maybe it's possible. I don't know. I personally see maybe I don't know. I don't see anytime soon, I should say, another NASCAR driver trying this, just because of the new rule and the logistics and because of the last 2 years with the rain and the time crunch in between flying from Indianapolis Motor Speedway to Charlotte Motor Speedway and being able to, debrief and then get mentally locked back in after you raced in the Indy 500, get back locked in for the, Coca-Cola 600. Kudos to like Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch. I don't know, did Danica Patrick did it or not? Obviously, she raced in IndyCar and obviously NASCAR, but I don't know if she did the double or not. I don't know, but I mean, it's been done before. It's just, I don't think now with this new rule and logistics and weather issues, it's not worth investing the money that it takes to do both races and the time, because this is what the results could be. So, So that's my 3 racing hot takes this week. Not the greatest hot takes like usual, but I that's what I got this week. So again, thank you all for joining in and listening. Sorry it's so late at night. Had a busy day. If you look behind me, I redid my studio here. I got a bunch of stuff back up on the wall. Got the championship race flag autographed and endorsed by Kylie Glick from last year when she won the junior late model track championship at All American Speedway in California. Kylie, if you don't know, is a driver that we partner with. She partners with us. She's a 14-year-old female that last year was her first year in a full-bodied stock car, and she ended up winning a track championship and then finishing P3 in the Pro Late Model at All American Speedway, which obviously is a NASCAR track, sanctioned track, and ended up getting the Rookie of the Year. She also was picked as a Hoosier Hero. So she's got a bright future ahead of her. And then the other poster here that's sort of washed out with all the race cars on it, that's all the race car liveries from 2024 for Jeremy Clements Racing last year. Because our podcast was a associate sponsor of Jeremy's car for the Pocono car, we received one of those posters, which was pretty cool. And then right below it is the artist rendering by Michael Michelli, who does the liveries for Jeremy Clements Racing for that Pocono car. And then if you can see right over my shoulder, that little green piece there, that's actually a piece of the front bumper of that car. So I wanted to make sure I could get those up. They've been sitting on against my closet here in the studio for a while, sort of cluttered. I needed to redo some stuff. So I was feeling good today for once after my surgery. I'm feeling a little wore out, a little pain in my hip and tired, but it was worth it. So, but everybody have a great night. Again, we can't do this without you, Bobby, Dave, and I. Really appreciate all this support from our partners, listeners, viewers. If you like what we're doing, please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our social media platforms on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also on Spotify. Tomorrow night, Bobby, Dave, and I will be live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Time. For episode 75, our guest will be Case Kallenbach, Jeremy Clements' crew chief. You don't want to miss that episode. It should be pretty fun. Case is a good guy. So on that note, I want to thank our sponsors, Spartan Waste, Fox Sports Spartanburg, Harrison's, Action RV, Kylie Glick Racing, Matman Designs, The Runner's Roost, Alliance Drive-Away Solutions, Anamore Designs, Circle B Diecast, Driven Sunglasses and Driven Trackside, Elite Towing and Recovery, High Speed Auto, The Racing Warehouse and Armadillo Apparel, Belcher Cheesecake Creations, Lion Form Concrete Structures, Gale Beard Products, Wings, etc., Dialed In Focus Pouches by Whitetail Smokeless, Benzik Designs, Schatz and Bach Landscaping, Enigma Tattoo Studio, Aero Parts Group, and Jeremy Clements Racing. Again, without all of those sponsors, our listeners, viewers, subscribers, we're not able to do any of this. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you again. Have a great night. And we'll talk to you soon.